Teacher, classmates, good morning. Today I'm going to share with you my assessment block. And first, I have to be aware of this very first question, which is, am I assessment literate? Um, as I have thoroughly read before from Eddie's White report, I think that it's very difficult to become assessment literate. But I think I'm not in this moment, but I think I'm studying too hard to become one of them. And why? I think that I have to follow many steps to become one of them. The first one is to set clear goals about my students' learning, which is very difficult. At the beginning of this semester, I did never ask myself if I did it in my class. I just went into my class, started my class, provide them with my input that I have thoroughly prepared, but I really never try to understand or ask or even wonder if my students learned something that I have proposed them for learning. It seems that I have been very like honest at the moment to know how much I have been improving on my teaching practice so far. Methods, I am very resourceful. I think I have put into practice many different methods that I consider useful for my students. So I think I am on the right track to do it. What I haven't used yet or implemented is the use of data, of how to collect data to realize if my students um, have achieved my goals in the class. Now that I have been studying a little more, I can realize that some of them have mm, learned better when working in collaborative work, and I have assessed this process by videotaping their their performances, by self-assessment, by peer assessment, by teacher assessment. So I have somehow included some kind of classroom projects, which have helped me a lot when assessing the students. I think that education is a cycle process. I think that there's never going to be an end when talking about education. So that is why you have to be really aware of what is going on good and well in your classroom and what is not going so well. So at the end of every semester, at the end of every period, you have to stop, you have to evaluate, and that is what they call making a re-engineering of your classroom, which is very important to make changes and to know and to keep doing what you're doing well and to reconsider where you're not doing so well and to change it in favor of the students, you know. All right, the second question has to be with what are my most pressing concerns about assessing in my contest? And there are plenty of constraints that I have when assessing my students in the classroom and in my school. One of them has to do with the little period of time we have in the lessons per week. So we only have 3 hours of English class during the week, which is very short. And not only that, but sometimes we waste a lot of lessons by doing different activities in the public school. Mm, lessons are easily uh, replaced by other activities, and this is common because of the problems that there may be in a public school, especially in mine. There are many. So if I have 3 hours in a week with a group, sometimes I have two or probably 1 hour during the week. So I consider that the assessment must be permanent rather than showing an outcome at the end, which is something that I mean we think that it is usually evaluated and in schools. Principals and the government itself wants teachers to show an outcome with the students' performances with ECFES tests and so on, but they do not care about the process. I think that the process is more important than even the outcome. because is how to evaluate, how to assess the student, how to help the students in the classroom, how to give them and provide them with different kind of strategies to help them improving learning, which is that is all of this about. As Brown said, that assessment is an area where context is paramount importance. In our content of state schools, we have to be careful uh, when taking advantage of the most possible time in our lessons to keep going and to provide students with the best we can. What do I plan to do in order to improve assessment in my classes? Well, here we have the proposal of Beckerman's lecture. The first one is, as you say, the person who is reflecting on the mistakes he could may have. Then he stops and he reflects on how to improve, and finally, success. I think that with education, success is difficult. You don't know if you have really success or not because it's a whole life process. So maybe with many years later, or what we would know, you can show what you're doing was really good or not according to your students or someone else performance in the real situations where you have taught or so on. So the first thing you have to do is to raise your consciousness of what you're doing is worth it in the classroom and for your students to be meaningful. From now on, I am definitely trying to set clearer and short and better instructions to my students. I'm going to set my goals in order to know not only what I have to teach or what I want to teach, but what they are going to learn. I'm going to clarify the way I'm assessing them. Sometimes, as I told you before, my time is not enough to assess my students in the classroom, so I have to look for different resources such as internet tools, web tools, uh, forums. I will open some kind of uh, free platforms where students can go and work there, such as Schoology or Modo, using different kind of flipped classrooms. I'm thinking on recording some kind of lessons here in my home, so I can show the students the way it is to learn the content at home and to go to the school to learn how to perform the different tasks. Assessing the students has been very difficult for me so far because although I know that they are doing their best effort, I really know that this is not what we as teachers really expect to have as an outcome. But as I told you before, outcomes in a very difficult content and context as the state school can take a long time, and the most important is to take advantage not only of the classroom but the activities at home. Um, Assessment is the process of evaluating the quality of learning, as Harry said in 2007, and I think that this is quite fair and this is quite good related to what I think because it is not to evaluate, it's not to just to get into the classroom and say open your notebooks and get a piece of paper. I'm going to do an exam, and everybody gets shocked. No, it's not the idea. The idea is not them to look at evaluation like a punishing process, but a tool to enhance motivation and enhance um, challenging thought and decision making processes, and they have to be prepared when to do it. So I think that I'm going to change the way of view of that. Assessment is not an evaluation, but is to help how to improve the learning and my students' process. Well, this is all I have to say today. Thank you very much. I see that taking into account assessment processes uh, will be improved by this master's program. I hope to keep learning a lot and to be more aware of my students need to be well. Thank you. Goodbye.